So my name is Diederik Martens, founder of Chapman Bright. And 5 years ago, I tried to write a book about marketing automation, capturing some of my learnings in about 10, 15 years of marketing and sales automation. And that was before ChatGPT, so I had to do the hard work here. And I'm pretty excited about AI and automation. It's a bit of my passion, also home automation. So for me, I'm very excited to be here with like-minded people. And the fact that you are here today kind of means you have some curiosity for AI and automation. And that's what I will be talking about today, which is mostly around productivity. And as I said, my background is in marketing. LinkedIn was already mentioned. And I think many of you see the LinkedIn posts where people claim to automate their company in 2 hours. And I'm pretty sure, Maarten, that it took you more than 2 hours to automate yours, right? So then again, a lot is possible, but not in 2 hours, to be very realistically. And what I see is that many companies, especially larger enterprises, have set AI as a business imperative, almost like an objective, whilst AI is nothing more than a technology that can help you do many things amongst automation. But it has become a business imperative, an objective. Why? It's because of the promise of hyper productivity. But I very often see that AI is more like a bolt-on on things that we do, much like this jet engine on this bicycle, which looks amazingly fast until you have to steer, and then things kind of go wrong. It's basically, who of you has used ChatGPT or something alike pretty much on a daily basis right now for their work? Yeah. So imagine you have about 10 hours of work that you use, an LLM assistant for to help you get through a bit quicker. Maybe you do it in 5 hours. So you have automated your work a little bit and you have a 40-hour productivity now in 35 hours. Which is nice, but this is not the promise of hyper productivity, right? So, and I think Kieran kind of gave it away a little bit. It's about having and making sure that AI is automated into real human processes. You and I, we use different tools every day. You mentioned, Maarten, Google Sheets and Gmail and Google Forms. Maybe I use Excel, I use a CRM system, I use a marketing platform, I use LinkedIn, I use my email. But I also use colleagues and other humans to do my work with. So only when AI is automated into the processes of real people, you can get to scale. And that's what I'm gonna talk about. And the other thing to remind you of is something that a big tech giant with like real life Iron Man that we all know, which I'm not particularly fond of, so that's why I'm not naming him by his name. But he did have a very good quote on automation, and that is, you shouldn't automate something that shouldn't exist in the first place. First, you cut out everything that shouldn't exist, and then you automate. And as I would tell it, it's basically, if you automate chaos, you basically get faster chaos, right? So that being said, I'm going to show you a couple of real life examples. Before I do that, at the end, I will come back and talk a little bit about what the machine should do and what the human should do, because it's very tempting to automate things. Again, Maarten, I keep referencing you. Sorry for that. But you mentioned maybe I'll have this assistant, that answers all my calls. And then you mentioned something that triggered me, which was, but then maybe I lose the sense of what my customer wants or is complaining about, right? And I think humans should focus on judgment, creativity, through true strategy, and also accountability. Because if the machine makes a mistake, in the end, a human is accountable, right? But I'll get back to that. But to keep things simple when it comes to productivity, let's stick with this, which is automations, AI, and workflows handle the repetitions, and humans handle the rest, which is not true, and I will come back to that later. Okay, I'm sorry for this, content-heavy slide, but I want you to make sure that when you automate things, you think about what level of automation is required. Because in the past few years, we have seen a lot of developments, and things that couldn't be automated before are suddenly, automatable right now. And we have also done this. It's in the human nature to automate things. We have done that as soon as we put a horse on the field. Instead of doing it with our bare hands, we have done it with steam machines in the Industrial Revolution. We've been doing this every time. We've been doing this with code, where we say if this, then that. And then we started using drag and drop. And nowadays we have AI, we have agents, deterministic agents and non-deterministic agents, and it's going to get more innovative in the near future. And who knows where it ends. But it's not that companies are placed anywhere right here. It's not linear. It depends on the challenge, on the case, the process that you want to automate, because something very simple that you want to automate can just probably be something very simple with something that you can do with drag and drop. But as soon as something becomes, for instance, less deterministic, or there is no exact paved out path, an agent could help. So it really depends on what you want to automate, on what you want to use. First, I'm going to give you a few theoretical examples before I dive into a few practical examples. As I mentioned, my background is in sales and marketing, and particularly in B2B. And I think the most tangible thing that I can share with you is the life of a sales representative that is selling things, right? So an outside sales that visits companies to sell products or services. So if you look how things happened in the past, and I'm pretty sure you probably can't read it in the back, so I'll say it out loud, is the top one is marketing often has a website, creates content, puts campaigns out, posts, and then people tend to fill out a form and become a lead to a company. Why? Because not everybody is ready to buy now, and they might buy later, and sales nurtures those leads. But sales gets handed over that lead from marketing. And what they then do is figure out what they need in order to schedule a meeting and eventually sell something. So they would get the lead in their CRM system, and they would see, hey, this is Peter, and they're trying to Google the company. Where is Peter working? What type of services does that company offer? And how would my product or service be beneficial to that particular company? And who is Peter? And what is Peter's role in that company? And what is Peter interested about? Was the company in the news recently? Did they have an investment, or all kinds of things that you can imagine? And eventually the sales rep picks up the phone, starts calling, and hopefully has prepared a good pitch in order to score that meeting and eventually sell something later on. That easily takes 30 minutes, right? But how you could also do that, that is something the machine could easily do. With SERP, search engine searches, with things like Make and other things that I'll show you later, is those processes can be automated. So the sales rep will get a report straight away, completely tailored to that specific company. So it's not something out of the box, it's something you automate yourself. And it will easily save him 25 minutes of time. And there are multiple examples. What I also see a lot is that a lot of companies, and if you work for a larger type of company, that sales reps have to log all the meetings and all the calls that they have into the system. Because in the end, people want to make data-driven decisions. And in order to make data-driven decisions, they want to see how active the sales rep was, what was discussed. It easily takes them 15 minutes to log things, to send the meeting notes to someone. And some of you might use these tools. I have MeetGeek. Previously I used Otter, which are tools. Does anyone have tools that record their meetings and transcribe them? Yeah, pretty much, right? So, and then these tools give you a summary and the next best actions that you need to take. Again, siloed, completely siloed. It's not connected. It's not woven into your processes whatsoever. And that's where the problem of hyperproductivity comes into place. If you use ChatGPT to ask it a few questions, it's you asking it for a simple task. It's not hyperproductivity. If that tool is connected to your CRM system to your email and to other platforms, you get scale. So what it does, it logs the meeting into your CRM system straight away with sentiment, criteria on budget, authority, need, and timeline when you sell something. If it discovers certain values, for instance, when I sell something, it's very important how much turnover the company does, how much marketing budget they have, which type of tools they use. If that is mentioned during a conversation, these are fields in my CRM system. It will automatically populate those fields. So I don't have to enrich the data myself. It just picks it up from conversations that I have. It will actually create the meeting notes email straight in my draft outbox. So I can actually look up the email, make some edits, and send the meeting notes to a customer straight away, saving me massive amounts of time. So I'm in between you and pizza. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some screenshots of 3 practical things. But I am connected to the Wi-Fi and I have all these things live and working. So whilst eating pizza, I can also showcase these things for real. So one of 3 things that I want to show you. One is we do project management for clients, and that means many things that we can automate. The one thing that I picked is something that I just did last week and automated, and that is that for a lot of our customers, we need to do renewals. And because these are typically large enterprises that work with quarterly or annual budgets, and that means that we need to do a statement of work, and it needs to be all written out and calculated and then officially signed off. And back in the day, what we needed to do is go to one of the customer leads and one of the project leads and ask them, okay, what did you work on? Is this still relevant? What's new? What did you calculate for next quarter? And they would send, a Word file or an Excel, and we need to turn that into basically a proposal and first an opportunity. And we use Salesforce as our CRM system. I don't use Agentforce. I wasn't particularly impressed yet by it. But it easily takes 20, 30 minutes to build that opportunity, put in all the product lines and everything, and then create the opportunity for the proposal for which we use PandaDoc. It's very easy to create proposals or any kind of digital signable documentation. And now it takes no time at all. So what happens now is, and this is again too small for the back, it looks at different projects that are in my project management system. I use Teamwork, which is in the same category as Rike or Asana, kind of as project management capabilities. And what it does, it pulls all the projects, then looks at which project is still running and has a budget ending, and there's no new budget already prepared for it. So that means we need to sell something to get a new budget. What it then does, it looks either whether it sees opportunities already in the CRM system. If so, it will ask me if one of these opportunities actually is the renewal. And if not, it will actually ask me to create one. And for that, I use what is called a human in the loop. Who has heard of HITL? Yeah, so human in the loop basically is a process where, especially if AI writes something for you or creates an image, writes a text, or does something, you as a human are in control to make the final decision or final edits. So it basically generates a URL with the stuff that you need to review. And then in this case, I push it out through Microsoft Teams because we're on Microsoft Teams. It could also be Slack or WhatsApp or anything that you prefer to use for that. And you get the raw black and white texts. You can make edits, hit approve, and then the process continues. And in this case, it completely builds out the proposal with all the project lines, all the calculations, and it actually sends this to the project lead for approval, who can make slight edits to check if the calculation is still valid. So that means that as a salesperson, then I, as sole responsible in the end for sales, don't have to do anything at all. I trust my team to work on it, and it actually generates the full signable proposal in PandaDoc straight away as well. And the team, actually, not me, the team is now working on, after the PandaDoc gets signed, that the project is now also automatically updated and created straight after. So we had this for new business, but now we also have this for recurring business. This process saves about 80 to 95 hours per year and was built in less than 1 business day. So again, if you build something like that every day, it starts, accumulating over time. Second, which I kind of, when I noticed the smaller size screen, I just edited a little bit to make it bigger. So something fell off, but I tried to make it a bit bigger for you to see. This is content repurposing. So often if you create a white paper in marketing, it's one of the most content heavy things that you can create because there's a lot of knowledge from your company put in such a paper, more than the market actually knows. And it takes tremendous amount of time and effort to write something like that and then publish that on your website. But then you also want to create blog posts for it, LinkedIn posts, and promote it and do all kinds of other stuff, create nurture emails or things that sales could send to people. So what we did is whenever a white paper is created and published, it will actually spin up and do something what I call a challenge solution value combination, not a comma separated value, but a challenge. So basically everything, always a use case is a challenge. You have a solution direction and it has a value of addressing that particular challenge. And a white paper is often filled with it, 5 or 10 different smaller challenge value combinations. And a model, actually an LLM, takes that out. And based on those, it will suggest, it takes the best 5 and writes 5 blog posts from it. And for those 5 blog posts, I then get the raw text for those blog posts. I get a chance as a human to make small edits. It's just black and white. I get a chance to approve them, give it a date time that I wish it to be published. And when I do so, it actually starts, for instance, generating an image, right? In this case, with OpenAI. And what I actually then do, I take that image, it then runs it through Runway to animate the image, to make it a video. And then I use Cloud Convert to turn that video into an animated GIF, which I then publish on the LinkedIn article to have an animated GIF, which makes it stand out from other LinkedIn posts because it's animated. And it also does the publishing on LinkedIn. What's not visible on here is that it also in our marketing platform automatically generates items for our newsletter, creates for all the blog posts separate emails, puts it into nurture streams. So also the blog posts are automatically published on WordPress. It then spins up for each blog post, which is this one little part of the white paper. It also creates a LinkedIn post to promote the blog post, and the blog post promotes the white paper. Even the LinkedIn post I get to see and get to approve to publish. So basically what I'm saying is you create that white paper, you publish that, and then you get a few questions that you need to approve and address, and then all the other channels are taken care of as well, including the publication. No need to start building stuff yourselves, creating pages on your WordPress whatsoever. And this is actually something new. There's only 1 episode live, but I actually also do full podcasts with this as well. And with the podcast, what I do is, in this case, I use OpenAI. And what it does, it takes one of these challenge solution value combinations, and it writes out an entire script for a podcast. And as you can see, I did it multi-stage because my experience, the quality goes down if you're trying to make a lengthy one. So you cut it up in different chapters. And obviously, you need to teach the model what is a good podcast, what's the order, how do you do that. And then it goes actually to 11 labs, and I spoke with someone that is in voice today, but I run it through 11 labs, which actually creates the voice, and I've done quite a few presentations. So I uploaded hours of me speaking into 11 labs, and that created a voice profile of my voice. And even the script has the all these kind of words in it. So when it generates the audio, it actually kind of pretty much sounds like me, a little bit more robotic, I think. And then that automatically gets sent to Captivate. Captivate puts the bumpers on and everything, and then processes it and publishes it to Deezer and to Spotify whatsoever. So even the podcast, the only thing I did is edit and approve the raw script when it was generated, and that's the only thing I do. There's only one episode, and the reason why is because we still have to find out how to get listeners and how to turn listeners into leads. And as soon as we figure that out later this year, then we're gonna launch more podcasts, because otherwise it will be a shame if, you know, we already promote them, make them without any listeners. Third one, this is a very heavy one. These are two other things, by the way. This is to be honest, bigger than this it doesn't get, because otherwise you're not doing things modular enough. This is a bit techy, but as an inside sales, so you help your outside sales by curating a list of possible leads. So a lot of people have the job, and I'm talking about millions and millions of people worldwide, that have the job to basically see 500 target accounts, 500 companies you want to sell to, and think about the 5-6 stakeholders that are the most important stakeholders at these companies you want to sell at. So that person might be, you know, curating 500 companies and 3,000 people. And it takes a tremendous amount of time, and you have to figure out who is ready when, who wants the appointment, and then hand them over to sales. And this is now happening automatically. So what is happening, I have identified, let's say 500 companies in the Netherlands. That might be the ideal customer profile for me, where I want to do account-based marketing and account-based selling for. And what this does is at least once or twice a year, it will look at the different stakeholders that we have, and it will check if the person still works there. It will go on LinkedIn, check if the person still works there. If so, it will update the profile. It will check what the person last talked about or posted about. And if the person doesn't work there anymore, it will mark the CRM system that the person doesn't work there anymore, and it will try to find that person's replacement. And if so, it will add the person to the CRM system. And what it will also do is check, if the person doesn't work there anymore, where does he or she work now? And if that company might be also a fit as an ideal customer, and if so, it will create the company in our CRM system. So all of that work, in this case, I was first working on an agent to do this, but it didn't work as I was hoping for. So now it is a workflow instead. But some of the things where the ICP gets matched, so whether does this match our ideal customer profile or not, that's how we do things. But I also have much easier workflows that I can always showcase later on. But I think the most important thing is, with every of these examples, I've always asked myself two different questions. One is really about the value creation. The other one is about productivity and what it is that I'm talking about today. And which is, how often does it occur? How much time does each occurrence take? And what's the cost of time? Because that allows you to really think about and prioritize which things you want to automate and which things you do not wish to automate. So really think about that. And I promise you to get back on something, which is the human and the machine, because even though this is a very important question to ask yourself, to what to automate and what not, because a lot of people get very excited about the tech and the coolness and the fanciness of everything, but you might be spending 10 hours automating something that will only generate 4 hours of result every year. Even if you automate something that takes you 8 hours to automate, and it results in 80 hours saved, it could still be a waste if you could have automated something that saved you 800 hours. So ask yourself this question. However, there is an asterisk, and that is about this. So I want you to be conscious about what you should automate and what you shouldn't automate, because basically it's kind of a Venn diagram where I say, even if AI can automate things, it doesn't mean it should. Because there's a couple of things that you as humans should always do. True creativity, true strategy, and of course, like I mentioned before, take accountability, right? So in the end, even though you could have something fully published autonomously, there are always things where you want to keep the human in the loop. All right. So that leaves me with the takeaway, and this is not pizza, but we'll get there. My key takeaway here is that that you shouldn't automate things just to make things faster. You should automate things to make things better. And I think that's how we get from AI hype to actually to true productivity. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you.